Alright, today, like I said in my review video, we're going to do a disassembly of the Taurus Millennium G2 PT111 G2 9mm. This would be down to the frame disassembly. I'll probably do it in two parts. I'll probably do a disassembly video. At the end of it, I'll put a link up for the assembly video because, as you'll see, the parts are pretty dirty. It's had some rounds through it, and they could use some cleaning. So I'll do that off camera, and then I'll come back and film the assembly. So we'll just jump right into it. We'll start by go ahead and field stripping the gun, just like a Glock. Dry fire. Pull your takedown lever tabs out. Take your barrel and recoil spring aside, and then we'll start with the slide. Put the frame over there. We'll start. If you ever taken a Glock apart, this is just like that. We'll just go ahead and with a bigger punch. This orange coupler in here, you just go ahead and push down on it a little bit, and then slide the backer down enough to where you can get a little flat head in there. That's at least the way I do it. It doesn't seem to come right off, and I just turn it a little bit. Pull it out, and then you'll be able to pull your striker out. We'll set that aside, and then we'll go ahead and work on the extractor firing pin block. So to do that, I'll put all the slide parts in this little tub. So to do that, if you look down in your slide, you're going to see this little push button almost. And when you push that button down, that's got this metal around it, that's part of the extractor. So that button's basically all that's holding the extractor in. So if I get a close-up here, you just push down on the button, and you'll kind of see if I doubt I'll be able to get it on camera because you got to kind of push a little hard. I'll just push down, and even if it's gummed up, you just give it a little tap, and you see the extractor popped right out on this side. So I'll go ahead and pull the extractor out. Put that in my cup, and then there's also a spring behind the extractor. Pull that out, keep that with it, so you know which springs are which. From here, the detent that you push down with the spring should just fall right out. And if yours is all gummed up, it probably won't, so you probably have to dig it out of there. And then the firing pin block came out with it on this one. So you got your firing pin block and its spring, which will just come right out of there, so just be careful. You can see why I'm going to go off camera and clean this up. This is pretty rough here, so we'll clean it, polish it. Put that in there, and then you got the little plunger with its spring, which also comes right out. So you got 3 springs right there all around the extractor and the firing pin block. That's not the last spring you got in the slide either. So you got 4 springs altogether. The next one will be for your loaded chamber indicator. There's really no reason to take this out, but for the nature of the video, we'll go ahead and pop it out. Using a 16th punch, you'll go through the side with a little hole. Go down in there, take your hammer, and just tap it out. And then there's your loaded chamber indicator, and its spring fell down in here, so it's got a little itty bitty spring too. Put that in the cup next to it. Got everything separated. The pin, yeah, I might just leave it in there. You can pull it all the way out if you wanted, but there's really no point. So the slide's completely disassembled. If you wanted to take the sights off, you unscrew right here, push them off, and then the front sight, it's got a Phillips head that you could go through and get it out if you needed to. You could go right down in there. You can see if you're taking yours apart. I don't see the need for it. I'm not changing the sights out. They're not needed for even general cleaning. You don't need to take those out. So next we'll work on the frame. We'll start with the front pin here. Doesn't matter on this gun, I've noticed. I took these 2 back ones out first. That didn't matter. Now this pin here gave me some trouble. So the front pin that you're going to be taking out, it's going to take some you know, some finesse to get it out. But there's, you know, there's nothing else that you need to do before you take the pin out. It's just the plastic is in there pretty good. You can go ahead if you want and take your takedown levers out. We'll just go ahead and do that first. I'll show you. Basically, if you look down in there and you just push it down, you can see there's a spring. And if you push that spring down, and then you can kind of pull your takedown levers down, and they will push out if you can get it to go down far enough. It might be easier to do it from this side here. So just push down. Try to keep it all on camera. I need to do it with my left hand. It's got a little notch it's got to get down into, and you just want to get it down to that point. There we go. So it just pulls right out. You got to get it down, push the detent down far enough, and let the takedown lever fall in to its groove, and then you can pull it out through the right side of the gun. Okay, so then you got that spring which you fight with, and its piece. So that's for that. Put that over here in the cup. Okay, so now you can start driving this pin out. So I'm going to go ahead and put my punch on there. Get it started. And drive to a little smaller one here. Take that out. So there's your pin there. Let's put that in the front. So that's your front pin. So from here, your locking block and trigger assembly can come out. But you go ahead and I'll take the back ones out first. So we'll go ahead and drive the back ones out. We'll start with the top one. Put it on here. A little bit more. So that's rear. And then this one I drive out from this side just to make sure. I have a feeling this one had, yeah, this one's got some, I don't know, texturing to it, some ridges on it that I didn't want to drive all the way through. So pull that pin out from the left-hand side of the gun. Okay. Now, before you start pulling out the Sear block and everything back here, the one thing I'm going to warn you about with the safety. When I pull this out here, sometimes you got a little screwdriver in there on the back rail and just kind of give it a pry up. You're going to watch right here at the safety. So if you look down in here, I get my little pointer. See that little piece of metal shining right there. It's a small little ball bearing, and it will just pop right out. So if you look right here, a little ball bearing in there with a spring that'll come out. So you got to be careful and mindful of that. So I'm just going to go ahead and push this out and try to push on the safety inward to kind of keep that all together for now. Trying to get the trigger bar out. I'll show you how that goes all back in. Okay. So you got a lifter here that comes out. And then if you then pull this safety out. The safety comes out a weird way. You got to kind of finagle it here and go up. And if you see, there's a little ball bearing I was telling you about. That will just come right out, and it's small. You will lose it. So we'll put it in there along with the spring that goes in there with it. That's just for the safety. Okay, so now you can pull the actual thumb safety out. Like I said, it takes a little finagle in there to kind of wiggle its way out. Okay, so besides that, there is a spring back here that you can, if you wanted to take it out, you could. You just got a pin right through here that you'll take out. You just push that out. Keep that pin separate. And then it's got a spring, if you can see the spring down in there. It's kind of hard to see, but it goes a certain way. So right there, if you can see it. Now when I pull my punch back out, it's probably gonna fly. And it's gonna, there you go. Now that keeps your, houses the sear. So you got your seared here spring out. And you're complete for the, you got your ejector in there. It's molded into, let's see, besides that, you got the trigger and the locking block. We'll go ahead and take that out. And then you can, let's see, pull, got this pin out here, it just pushes out. And then from there, the trigger will come out, and it just kind of goes up in there like that. And then the slide release also, it goes inwards and behind, so it all lines up with the hole. And it goes in there like that. And this spring will go behind it, as you can see right there. The little spring. It goes back in there, it'll go like that. Like I said, I'll explain that on the assembly video, how everything goes back together, and it will kind of make more sense. But for now, you've got the complete gun apart, everything's stripped down to where it could be. You could take the trigger shoe off if you wanted to, but I guess if you're changing that out. And then your mag release, if you wanted to take that out, if you ever taken any other gun apart, it does the exact same way. If you look down in there, you just push the mag release, slide it over into the slot, and then it'll come out. They're usually a pain to get back in, so I usually take them out unless I'm changing them. There's no real reason to take it out on this disassembly. So that is the disassembly of the Taurus PT111 G2 Millennium. Got all your parts here. Now the fun part happens. You get to clean it up, polish a couple parts here that are looking pretty bad, and then we get to put it all back together. So like I said, up here in the corner will be the link to the assembly video. So go ahead and click on that to get your gun back together. So we'll see you on the next video at the shooting table. Thank you.